Hi folks, this was going to be a video about the new Porsche 962C Group C car. Yesterday I made a video about the Mercedes and got very excited about it. And whilst having a go and testing for maybe doing a video about the Porsche today, I've been discovering a few things. In fact, I discovered a few things yesterday with the Mercedes. Is it just me? Am I really late to the game on this? But have we always had punctures in AMS2? Automobilista 2 by Reza Studios, or is that a new thing? I've noticed this with these cars. There's just something I want to point out. Now, the damage is something that I'm really keen on in simulators. It was great in Richard Burns Rally, and it was great in GTR2. I know a lot of people think, oh, if you concentrate on the damage too much, then you know, there's not enough attention paid to the physics. Well, Richard Burns Rally had some of the best physics I've ever tried, and still had great damage. This, I've said for a while now that I think there's a lot going on under the hood with Automobilista 2. There's little things I noticed which lead me to believe that this sim can do a lot more in terms of damage, and I would love to be able to have it like GTR2 where you could turn the damage up to 200%, and for me that was realistic because you crashed at 30, you know, head on into a wall, that was your race over. In a lot of sims you can crash at 60, 70, even 100 into a wall and your car still keeps going. And I love I used to love GTR2 getting to the end of a race with a pristine car, but knowing that I had the damage on at 200%, I've got through that whole race without a scrape. Anyway, what I wanted to point out is, now this is going to be hard to do because, well, it's kind of hard to replicate certain situations for a crash, but I think we've got punctures, and I'm going to try and go up here towards Eau Rouge and just try and take it far too fast, smack the sides of the cars on the barriers and see if we can get one. This may take a few attempts. So here we go. Oh, terrible gear change. Doesn't matter because we're deliberately trying to crash. That wasn't exactly the way I wanted to crash. There's some sparks. That wasn't how I meant to crash. I was meant to just hit the side of the wall. Like I said, it's harder to get a crash right than it is to take a corner without having a crash. But right, okay, the side of the car is down, and there are, okay, I don't think yet. We've got sparks. We've got sparks there. Let's we change our camera here and have a look back at the car. No, that's not going to work. We need. If I can get the car to turn around. Right, it looks very much there like we've got a front puncture. And I'm going the wrong way down the track. What I will do is switch over to replay mode in a minute and see if we can see it on the replays. But look, we've got sparks coming off the left-hand side of the car. Something else just feels like it's popped as well, actually. Let's get back in the car here. Like I said, I may have just not realised this, you know, but that really does feel like a puncture. Now let's have a look at the replay, and let's get rid of the interface and just fast forward that. So up towards Eau Rouge and bang. There we go. And so here's where I turned the car around. So hopefully we can see this. Yes, the front wheel is down. That's definitely a puncture. Look at that. We've got punctures in AMS2. Is this? Have I totally missed this, or is this something that was snuck in? That's definitely a puncture, is it not? Definitely, most definitely a puncture. Amazing. Now, another thing And this is something that I've always noticed has been in the game. It's in the sim. I love the way the transmission is modelled. You know, if you're in a car with a H pattern shifter, and you know you're using the clutch, you can kind of dog box it and rev match. You know, with your heel and toe on your accelerator, and brake, you can, you know, lift at the right point, rev match it, get it into gear without using the clutch. But if you don't do any of the rev matching and heeling and towing, and you don't use the clutch and try and, say, drop it down into second when the revs are wrong, you can, let's try it. So we go up to fourth. Right, I'm now going to drop it into second from fourth without using any rev matching. See what happens. And no clutch. There we go. I've just ground second gear down a bit. Still working, but did you notice the oil light came on? Now let's try that again, because this is what I've seen for a long time in Sims is progressive damage. You know, where one part getting damaged maybe damages another, or you know, the more you do something, the more it damages a part. And well, you'll see what I mean in a second. Right, so let's get up to fourth gear. We'll get on this straight. Fourth gear, and let's jam it into second. No clutch, no rev matching. Okay, and it's gone out again, and I've just revved it and got the revs to match. Back into fourth. This time, I'm going to jam it into second. And I'm going to leave it there, scraping away. I'm not going to try and match up the revs. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let that grind away. You see the oil lights come on down there. And that is just grinding away now. And you're probably thinking, what's your point, Tarmac? Well, bear with me. We're now going to give it some revs. And it's not doing anything. Put it into third. Got my gears back. Right, put it into fourth. Slow right down. Stick it into first. Now I'm going to go for a normal clutch, smooth, using the clutch, smooth change up to second, and we've completely, I've got no drive. We have lost second gear. My other gears are working, but I have lost second gear. And so you can actually, you know, that gear's gone now. That needs replacing. I don't know how long in the pits that would have to take. But I just wanted to put this out there, just to ask you guys out there, am I late on this? Am I the only one that's just realised that we have punctures? I mean, the gear thing, I've never purposely, I knew the gear grinding was there, but I've never purposefully tried to grind a gear out. And changing it a second, that gear's gone. It's absolutely gone. You know, I think this sim, I mean, it'd be great to have damage like you've got in BeamNG in every sim, but that really is, you know, you would be taking a lot of processing power away from, you know, calculating your tyre wear and tyre physics and everything else. I suppose, not that I understand all of that, I'm no computer programmer, but I can imagine. But I think I really would love to see Reza implement. You've got several options for damage in this. You've got visual, you've got performance impacting. So I guess I've never used them. I've always used full damage because that's what I like to race with. I absolutely love racing with full damage on because it makes me drive more realistically. You know. And when you watch people on the multiplayer or on replays, and they're taking a corner, a really dangerous corner really fast in the middle of a race, and you think, wow, you know, if you're watching that in real life, you think, wow, that guy was brave to do that, and he must have really known his stuff to take that corner at that speed, knowing the risks. Whereas you watch someone on the multiplayer do it, if there's no damage, it's just like, oh, so what? You know, if he hits the wall, it doesn't matter. It adds such an element of excitement. Another thing I like about Automobilista 2 is the parts falling off. If I'm on the multiplayer and I'm going around and I see parts strewn all over the road at a corner, I know that coming up there's going to be a couple of slow cars ahead. You know, because maybe they've had a clash. Or that corner has, even without two cars coming together, is a corner I need to be careful around because lots of people are coming across there. I love it. I would love to see I know a lot of the people on multiplayer wouldn't agree because, you know, if you had a multiplayer, say, at Nordschleife, and it was a practice day at Nordschleife, people just wanted to have fun. It's such a long track. You have a crash halfway round and it knackers your car and you've got to start from the beginning. I understand. It's a headache, right? But for those people, you've already got the setting no damage. Even full-on damage doesn't cause the kind of show-stopping damage you get in real life. But for people like me, if there's anyone else out there who's like me and loves the idea of whacking, you know, like for instance, let's see, if I slow down to 60 miles an hour, 67, 68 kilometers per hour, so we're doing about 30 odd miles an hour. If I was to now drive this car straight into a wall at even just 30, let's ramp it up to 80, so closer to 40 miles per hour. You know, drive it straight into a wall. You know, even at that speed in real life, that would be your front end trash. You know, suspension assembly gone. Or if I drive straight into a wall at 60 miles an hour head on, you know, I've got some pretty serious damage going on now, but the car's still going. You know, it'd be lovely to see some progressive... There's that second gear I can't use anymore. Lovely to see that kind of... Well, I think you get what I'm saying. You know, I think it's something that's overlooked in Sims a lot, but I love the fact that we've got Punctures now. This is amazing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Please, tell me your thoughts in the comments. And I'll pop this at the Reza... I've started a damage thread at the Reza forum, so I'll pop this in there. Anyway, please, 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 if you like my videos, subscribe, and even more so, even if you're not subscribed, please write in the comments what you think about this, and especially if any of you remember GTR 2, where you could have the damage at 200% if you were in single player and you let you have it at 100 in multiplayer. But I mean, let me know what you think. Cheers. Thank you.